Hi and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be giving my kitchen a good deep clean. This will include cleaning the oven, which desperately needed it, the stovetop, the toaster, and even descaling the kettle. I'll also be decorating for spring a little bit and finishing the video off with an amazingly easy and very tasty mini egg cookie recipe. You definitely want to stay tuned for that one. With all that said, let's jump straight into the video. So as you can see here, my oven desperately needed a good deep clean. The kettle also hasn't been descaled in about 2 months, and we have some hard water in our area. And if you want your kettle to last, it's important to do this quite regularly. And for some reason, I have all these random dirt marks all over the kitchen that I'm also going to tackle. So as I normally do, I'm going to start off with the oven, and I'm going to use a cream cleaner and just a ball of foil that I have mushed up, but that didn't even seem to do it. This normally gets everything off, and as you can see here, it got most of it off, but not quite all of it. I also realized that you can take this apart. I never knew this, so this might be new to you as well. You just press the sides and it just slides straight out. So I'm going to wash that with some warm soapy water and just make sure that I clean in between those two planes of glass just with a multi-surface cleaner, and I'm going to follow that up with a glass cleaner just to make sure that there are no streaks. And then I'm going to follow with the inside of the oven, first just with a cream cleaner again, and just follow that up with a multi-surface cleaner as well, and that did get it very, very clean. I would recommend that you invest in these oven liners. They're about £1 or £2 from places like Home Bargains and Poundland, and they really do help out with keeping the oven much cleaner, and it's obviously a lot easier to clean that liner or replace it than it is to scrub the inside of your oven. So I'm just going to continue cleaning this, then I'm going to wash the pane of glass that I've just removed and let it dry.
I've been all around the world, every city, every place, always been a restless girl, but now there's a wind of change. I've never ever felt this way. Longing for you, pick up the phone, catching a flight, I'm coming home, back to the place I've always known. Home, home, seeing you soon, I gotta run. We're gonna have a lot of fun and spending this summer alone. I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
So I'm going to finish off the outside of the oven by using my eucalyptus and lime glass cleaner from Astonish. I must say I love this product and I would definitely recommend it before moving on to the stove top. The first thing I'm going to do on the stove is remove all the parts that can be removed and soak it in warm soapy water. I'm just going to add some fairy liquid, and that should get rid of any little burnt on pieces of food on there. I will then wipe down the surface just with a wet microfiber cloth and follow that up with a disinfectant spray just to make sure that it is nice and clean and completely streak free.
You were only like a friend, till we met the other day. Didn't want the night to end, and now there's a wind of change. I've never ever felt this way. You're stuck inside my mind.
Moving on to the extractor fan, where I'm actually going to remove those vent parts and put it in my dishwasher and turn that on. While the dishwasher is going, I'm going to move on to the kettle and the toaster. Just remember to take those crumb trays out of your toaster regularly. Get rid of those crumbs and wipe it down. I'm also going to put the slam descaler in my kettle. This works amazingly. I mean, I'm not particularly brand loyal, but any of these descalers, they're quite cost effective from places like B&M or Home Bargains. You literally just half fill the kettle and put it in and leave it for a couple of minutes, and then give it a good rinse with just cold water a couple of times. It really gets rid of any build-up in there, and it's so easy to do. So as you can see here, loads of crumbs coming out of that toaster. Again, something that I probably should do more regularly than I do. So I'm going to just finish off with the toaster and the kettle, and then we can get on with the countertops as well as the cupboards.
I leave the TV on, I'm done with your sad eyes. I can't take another night with you on like this. So let's go, I'm sure you can take it. You've been crying over him for a lifetime. So if you don't mind, we will dance till it's way past late. Another course that we can fly with the baseline. I know, I know, I know, I know. Boys be boys, ain't no excuse, babe. Now hey you, oh hey you. I know you can find someone better. Oh hey you, oh hey you. He's a vagabond, he won't love you better. I can watch you sinking down on the battleship. So come to 10, then again, Mississippi. You've been crying over him for a lifetime. So if you don't mind, we will dance till it's way past late. Another course that we can.
Okay, now that all the counters as well as the cupboards have been completely cleaned by a disinfectant spray, I'm just going to move on to the kettle. As you remember, we put that descaler in there earlier and we need to make sure to rinse that out thoroughly because we obviously don't want to consume any of that product. I am always impressed at how easy it is to use, and look at the results here. It is absolutely amazing to me. The last thing we need to do is just vacuum the floors because a lot of crumbs obviously have come down from the counters as I've been cleaning, and I'm just going to finish it off by mopping it using my flash mop.
I know, I know, I know, I know. Boys be boys, ain't no excuse, babe. Now hey you, oh hey you. I know you can find someone better. Oh hey you, oh hey you.
We are definitely in the home stretch now. The last little thing that I need to do is just wipe down the kitchen island with an antibacterial spray, and then we are all done. Now the kitchen is a nice clean slate that I can use to start decorating. The main area that we will be decorating are those open shelves over there. The things that I'm going to use are actual practical things that I will need for other purposes as well. So I bought several of these little eggs that I'll be using in the Easter egg hunt eventually. I bought these plates that obviously the boys can eat off as well. I have these cups from last year, and I just tend to use the same things every year. I bought some marshmallows. My kids absolutely adore marshmallows. And I bought several packs of party rings because I think the colors really complement sort of Easter springtime. I also have these little bunnies that the kids actually painted last year, and I thought it's very sweet and I kept it. I actually bought eggs for them to decorate this year, and I shall be keeping those as well and using it in my decorating next year because it just makes them so happy to see it up on the shelves. And then I have these two little canisters, the one with a little bunny on it and the one with the bunny ears, that I'm just going to fill up with the chocolates. So I'm just going to start filling up the containers, and then we'll see how we decorate the shelving. I just wanted to mention that I do tend to use really practical things when decorating. I don't really have space in my house to waste, so if I can use a pretty cup that sort of complements the season, I will tend to use that as opposed to just a figurine that looks pretty. But obviously do whatever makes you happy. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually remove everything off the shelving and give it a good wipe down. Now when I decorate for the season, I think about the room that I'm decorating for, and I include practical items for that room. I also think about how we live. So that basket there, for example, contains all our posts so that doesn't just clutter up the kitchen counter, which definitely is one of my pet peeves. As there are two shelves here, I also think in terms of V's generally. So if I have a glass item at the top left, which I will be doing here in a second, I'll think about the middle of the bottom shelf and then the top right to put glass elements again. The same that I just did there with the wooden boxes, the top one for the tea, and then I put the box that has the coffee pods in on the right. In terms of practical items, I have the coffee cups there with the tea and the coffee pots. It just makes sense. And then I also have these iridescent glasses that we just drink everyday water out of, and I have my wine glasses that's also iridescent because I just think that complements the season. I also included those little bunnies that the kids painted, and I made sure to put that on opposite ends of the shelving. I just think it balances it out much better that way. Now I am by no means an expert, but that is just my 2 cents. But just do whatever makes you happy, whatever brings you joy. If you look at it and it makes you happy, then it is definitely the right thing to be doing.
Talk to me, baby, I've been waiting for a lifetime. Just keep on fading in all these photos, caught in the memories and captured in the highlights.
Now, I don't think anything says springtime more than planting some fresh live plants. Thinking practically again, I'll be going for herbs on my windowsill in these containers that I bought from IKEA that I would definitely recommend. Now, bearing in mind that I just deep cleaned this kitchen, you will not believe what just happened. Yes, I made a massive mess. And if this does not scream just life in general, and especially life with kids, then I don't know what does. But I'm just going to leave it, continue planting all the plants, and then move on to cleaning it. Now, I went for 1 parsley and 2 plants of basil because I actually use quite a lot of basil. And then I also went for mint because I like mint and lemon in my sparkling water. I just think it's really refreshing. And then I also went for a plant of dill. Now, these spring onions are actually just leftovers from when I bought spring onion from the store, where we've used the green bit and there's a little bit of white left, and you just literally stick it in the ground and it grows again. So that's maybe a little tip just to save a bit of money.
Glass after glass, I keep hoping you'll come around, drowning our fights in what.
Now moving on to those mini egg cookies. What I have here is 150 grams of unsalted butter. I have half a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of corn flour, and half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. I have brown sugar, white sugar, and then chocolate there. I mixed white and brown. Each of these were 100 grams. I have a medium egg. I have 200 grams of mini eggs and 300 grams of just plain flour. Now, the first thing you're going to be doing is creaming the white, brown sugar and butter together. Please make sure that your butter is actually room temperature, otherwise it'll be absolutely impossible to get done. And my son Liam here is obviously my little sous chef for today. I also just wanted to mention that this recipe is based on a recipe by Jane's Patisserie. I didn't follow it exactly, but essentially it is the same thing. She recommends you make 16 cookies out of the recipe, but I tend to get a bit more out of it. And what I do is I bake half of it and I freeze the rest. And what I do is I cut squares of parchment paper and just cover each little cookie ball, and I just literally take it out of the freezer when we feel like eating it, and I just put it in the oven for around 16 minutes, and you can have it sort of with ice cream as a warm cookie, and that's absolutely delicious. So once the sugar and butter is creamed together, you add the egg and the vanilla extract, followed by all the flour, the bicarb, and the salt and the corn flour, and you mix all of that together. And then finally we add in the chocolate and the mini eggs, and then we just form little balls that we put on parchment paper, and it gets baked I believe 16 minutes at 160 degrees. These are so delicious, and I definitely recommend that you give them a go.
I don't know where she came from, kinda turned me upside down. I just don't know what to do. I wanna spend the night at hers and bring her one of my t-shirts so it smells like her perfume. Now I really get what the love songs are talking about. And I just wanna tell her how I feel, scream it out loud. Have you ever been in love? Have you ever lost your head? Have you felt like you were out of breath when you saw her in that dress? When your heart is beating fast and you're sweating and you can't stop looking at her smile, then you've been in love.
Now, once you form the balls, it is recommended that you just put the batter in the freezer for around 15 minutes before you put it in the oven. I believe you can also put it in the fridge if you have the time, but I would probably do it for around an hour if you wanted to do that.
I know you've been in love. There's something about the way she laughs and the way she always dances when she thinks nobody sees. When she's gonna miss her so.
I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you can hit that subscribe button below. It really does mean the world to me and it really does make a massive difference to my channel. With all that said, I really hope to see you in my next one. Bye!
Baby, please don't go. I think you should stay with me. And I really get what the love songs are talking about. Oh, and I just wanna tell her how I feel.